The objectives in this lesson is to multiply rational expressions. Recall when you first learned to multiply fractions, it probably was either toward the end of elementary or in middle school. But regardless of when you learn how to multiply, the steps were you could either multiply the numerator and then multiply the denominator. For example, 7 times 16, that's going to give you 112. And then multiply 8 times 21, and that's going to give you 168. So I have this big fraction of 128 over 168 that you had to reduce or simplify. So that method is probably not the best or the quickest method to solving or multiplying fractions. I would say the best method would be to simplify it first by canceling out any common factors. And then once you cancel out any common factors, you'll be left with smaller fractions. And then you can multiply them together and arrive at your answer a lot faster, rather than having to deal with this really large fraction and have to figure out what number would divide into the top and the bottom so that you can simplify it. So let's do the quicker method, which is to cancel out any common factors. So crisscross, it doesn't matter which way you go. Let's go this way. Crisscross this way, I can see that these terms share something in common. And what is it that they share in common? That's correct, a 7. So I can cancel this 7, and the 7 in the 21 in the bottom, take the 7 out of that, and that's going to leave you with 3. Crisscross the other way, I see that they have an 8 in common, so I can cancel the 8 from the bottom, take the 8 out of the 16, and that would leave me with 2. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out those common factors. So again, take the 7 out. And remember, when things cancel, they cancel to 1 if the whole thing is canceled. And then crisscross the other way, I'm going to take out a common factor of an 8. And as you can see, what I'm left with is my answer. So I have 1 times 2, which is 2 on top for a numerator, 1 times 3, 3 on the bottom for a denominator, and so my answer is 2/3. A lot quicker than if you were sitting there trying to reduce 112 over 168. So again, the answer here is 2/3. Okay, so let's apply the same strategy that we use to multiplying fractions to multiplying rational expressions. There are just 3 simple steps. Step 1, factor the numerator and the denominator completely, if possible. Step 2, simplify by canceling out any common factors. And then step 3, simply multiply whatever is left. In other words, multiply the remaining factors of the numerator and the denominator. So let's begin. Step 1, we're going to go ahead and factor everything in the top and everything in the bottom completely. Step 2, now we're going to cancel out any common factors. So moving from left to right, I see I can cancel out. There's a 6 up top and there's a 6 down below because there was a 6 inside that 36. So I'm going to cancel those 6's out. Next, I can go ahead, I see an x plus 1 up top and an x plus 1 on the bottom. So I can go ahead and cancel those out as well. I also see that I have a 2 up top and a 2 down below. So I can cancel out a common factor of a 2. And then lastly, I can cancel out a common factor of a 5. I have a 5 up top, and I have a 5 down below. Once you cancel out all common factors, then it's simply multiplying whatever is remaining. So on the top, everything canceled to 1 on one side. On the other side, everything canceled to 1. So 1 plus 1 is 1, so you have just 1 remaining on top. And on the bottom, everything canceled except 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. So therefore, your answer is 1/3. Multiplying rational expressions. In this next example, we're going to continue to follow those 3 steps. Step 1, factor the top and the bottom completely, if possible. So let's go ahead and factor. I have 3 trinomials, and I also have a difference of square. Yes, did you see that? Notice it? X squared minus 25. That is a difference of square, which is going to factor into x plus 5, x minus 5. We're going to also factor those trinomials, so let's go ahead and factor everything in the top and the bottom. Now we're going to move on to step 2, which is to simplify any common factors, cancel them out. So I am looking for something from the top that looks exactly like something from the bottom. So moving from left to right, I have x plus 5, and I do have an x plus 5 on the bottom. So I'm going to cancel those out. Let's see, I have x minus 5. Do we have an x minus 5 on the bottom? Yes, we do. Let's cancel that out. How about x plus 3? Do we have an x plus 3 on the bottom? Yes, we do. Let's go ahead and cancel that out. And how about x plus 4? Do we have an x plus 4 on the bottom? No, we do not. And on the bottom, we have an x minus 4. We can't cancel that out unless we have an x minus 4 on top, which we don't have. So we're now on step 3, which is simply multiply whatever is remaining. So remember, when things cancel, they cancel to 1. So on top, 1 times x plus 4 is simply x plus 4. And on the bottom, all we're left with is x minus 4. So our answer is x plus 4 over x minus 4. And there you have it, multiplying rational expressions.